Hello, KFC SuperCoaches, the Pre-Lockout podcast, round 22. Fourth last week of the season, head-to-head finals. There's a bit of an injury crisis to deal with as well. It is all happening, and Rob Sutherland is here to talk about it. Making any trades?
Oh, you jest, Thomas. Straight into it. Isn't it funny? I feel like we're a fair way away today. We've got this sort of different setup. We can't be next to each other anymore, but it's nice. Oh, no, look there.
There we are. Bit of social distancing going on today.
It is, it's wise. Trades. Who needs trades, mate? You get the team, you pick a team, you know that they're quality, you just roll them out to do the job again.
Well, I have 4 trades, and I'm still sticking to what I said last night with DCE and Garrick. Sticking to the Sea Eagles, who are coming up against the Titans. Their run from after that isn't brilliant either, and they're not really in good form, the Sea Eagles, particularly DCE. I mean, Garrick's in okay form.
I'm bringing in a bloke who's not in good form, has a tough run, but...
His run is okay. He's got this week, obviously, and I could just bring him in this week and then trade him out next week.
All those trades.
The thing is, it's a risky trade. DCE is not as... locked in as someone like Dylan Brown, where you know what you're going to get, but he doesn't have the run that DCE has either.
Fair enough. I mean, look,
take some risks.
I'm confident with my guys. I like my team. I don't feel the need to change, so that's fine.
You're chilled out this week.
Margaritas.
You do seem a little bit more chilled this week.
I'm feeling a bit silly this week, I've got to say. It feels like I'm getting... It's like Mad Mondays. A bit of the silly season's already started. My trades are done. I might as well enjoy myself.
Happy days.
Ask anything. Anything about Tom that you want to know, put it into the questions. I'll tell the truth.
Yeah, definitely send through your questions. Let's have a quick check. There's none in at the moment, so send through your questions and we'll get to them shortly. But for now, let's run through the most purchased players. Cameron Murray, number 1 on the list. Can't talk anyone out of it. Averaging 94 since Origin. It's pretty strong selection.
Yeah, look, what can you say? You know, his base is 50, offloads, great attacking stats. If you're going to find a knock, you know, we talked about it last night, it's the tough draw. It's the Eels, the Panthers, the Cows and the Roosters. That's about as hard as it gets. So you have to throw the Storm in and then you'd have the full set. But, you know, the upside with Murray is I think your floor is about 60 and you can get to 100. So
Great base with good attacking stats. Tough run, as you said, but coming off that amazing game last week. Ruben Garrick is the second most purchased. I'm probably potentially getting on. I like the matchup against the Titans this week. He'll kick 30 in goals, hopefully. And look, he's a leader in that position anyway, so I think he is a little bit safer than one of these guys like DCE, who's a bit more up and down.
Yeah. I think the goal kicking is always the bonus there, isn't it? Yeah. You know, you could go on a real flyer. I keep talking him up because I'm just hoping it succeeds eventually and get, say, a Ronaldo Mulatalo, who has a great draw. But, I mean, I think it's hard to say that he's a better buy than Garrick. If I had the money, I'd get Garrick.
Payne Haas is another guy. If you're looking to sell someone like Tapanay or Kikau or whoever it happens to be, Payne Haas is safe. Front row only, so if you've got Tapanay in the front row and you don't have the right jewels, you may be forced to go to someone like Haas.
I don't think there's any problems getting Haas. You know, again, your base is sort of 60. If you're going to have any fear, it's that this game against the Knights sort of profiles that the Broncos will score a lot of points and Payne might not get a lot of involvement in that regard because... You know, they're going to go wide and they're going to score.
Well, he could charge over for one as well, like he did a couple of weeks ago.
He could, or he and Clem could throw down. You know, who
knows?
It's going to be an interesting one.
Let's hope that happens.
What?
No, DCE, we've probably spoken about him, but he is the 4th most purchased player. Latrell Mitchell, he's just absolutely on fire since this injury. He looks dialed in, averaging 105 since the injury. Captain option every week, but he does have that tough games for all of the remaining 4.
Yeah, again, look, we say it every time. He'll get up for a big game. If you're going to find a knock, it's the draw and the fact that the Rabbitohs should score less points in these 4 games than they've scored in his last 4 games, which means he's getting less shots at goal. But, you know, that's a minor one. I think you want to have him in your team if you can.
Yeah, I think so too. On your point, against Para last time they played, he got 99, and he got a decent record against them. So for him, it's a decent matchup.
It's Para. You don't know what Para you're going to get. You might get really good Para. You might get not so good Para. Tough call. They are playing at Combank, I think, though.
Moving on to Isaac Thompson. He's the cheapie, but I think he only plays one game, and then Campbell Graham's back next week, or Jed Cartwright is back next week. Either way, Isaac Thompson's a 1 week guy. He's not going to make any money in that time. So, look, depends. Do you need cover for this week? I'd just prefer to go to enough.
Oh, well, he is enough in price, isn't he? So, maybe people are grabbing him because you never know, injuries being what they are. At 175k, it's for those lucky types who have boosts and want to downgrade one player and upgrade two, I suppose.
Yes, but the other side of the coin there is if you're going for enough, you go for a guy with dual position. You don't go for Isaac Thompson.
True. I suppose that's a fair point, but... Yeah.
Nico Hines, look, 60% of people own him already, and if you don't, you're going to drop behind. He's got the most points of any player this year. The run home is unbelievable. All bottom 8 teams. I think if you don't own him, you have to get on.
100%. He'll be my captain this week. Yep.
And Cameron Munster, interesting choice here because I know he killed it last week, but a pretty tough run home for the Storm. I don't think we'll see a repeat of that. But a bit like Latrell, Munster can just go well against any opposition.
And with Hughes out, then the team's 100% going to be rolling around him. And it's a bit of a weird thing in SuperCoach, but the upside is he won't be goal kicking. So yes. That's a plus for Cameron Munster. I quite like, you watch him sort of kick it, then he sort of stands there and goes, is it going left? Is it going right? I don't know. Let's just watch it and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to hope that they score pretty much under the posts, otherwise it's not going to get over.
Yeah.
Angus Crichton, next on the list. I find this a little bit interesting because it's been a strange season for him. He had that kind of weird start where he was on the bench a fair bit, minutes were down. But since then, he's played 80 minutes basically every game. I think there was a sin bin in there, which meant he didn't play 80. So he's locked in every week unless he gets sin bin, essentially. But it does rely on attacking stats, particularly recently. There's a couple of tries in there, and they've had quite a good run recently. Their run gets a lot tougher starting from this week. I think there's one easy matchup against the Tigers next week. The other 3 are hard.
They're hard, but I mean, they have to win them all, right?
Yeah.
Like they're sitting there I think they're an 8th spot at the moment. They could probably finish 7th. You look at the projections of likely results. It is an odd one. I prefer the guy below him on the list if I'm going to pick between them. But, it's a little bit of last week's points, I think, maybe. Well,
let's talk about Kaloa Matangi because he's actually in better form, SuperCoach-wise, than Cameron Murray. Murray's number 1 on the list. Kaloa Matangi's 10th.
50 in base, and that's not coming in tackles. He's only putting in 25 tackles, but he's putting in some monster numbers of runs, and those runs are going over 8. With that comes a lot of tackle busts. With that comes line breaks. It's really hard to argue against Kaloa Matangi. He's a guy that at the start of the year, I looked at him and I looked at Alokatau as the 2 second rowers who I thought were going to take the step to join the elite this year. Didn't put either in my team. Both have gone really well. There you go.
Great little pick there. I'm going to load some questions up. We've got 20 sitting there ready to rock. Campbell Graham, a bolter for this week with playing para. What are your thoughts? He didn't make the 22, did he?
I'm struggling to recall.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't in the squad.
Even then, I wouldn't be picking him. I don't think he was, but even then, I wouldn't risk it. No.
I agree, and they got that tough run home as well. What happens when you have a bye in your head-to-head? That's from Teddy Wong. Put your feet up, save the trades, wait until next week, because that's when it gets sudden death for you.
Or make a trade if you've got loads like Sanger who had that extra QR code, so you got those 5 extras. And
2 choices of captain.
Yeah, well, you get to split your captain through the round. It's a real bonus. I wish the rest of us had. I think we should look at bringing that in next year.
Yes.
And get some cash in for your big trades at the end. Yeah.
Fair enough. 3 trades left. Do I sell Hughes? I have good depth. Look, the thing with Hughes, I actually saw Frank Panisi, the football manager, talking about it this morning. He said it's definitely this week and then hopefully he's back next week, but it could be the week after. So it could be a 2-week injury for Hughes. With 3 trades and a pretty tough run home, I'd be tempted to sell.
Yeah, with the team pretty much guaranteed. I don't think they can finish top 4. Well, they can, technically, but I don't think they will. So why would the Storm rush it? They know they're going to play finals, but they know also where they're going to be in the finals. So, yeah.
Shane Harrison, is asking Drinkwater, Munster or Burton for Cleary, and he's a head-to-head player. 3 really good choices. I'm jealous of people who own Burton at the moment. He's got a pretty good matchup this week. He's very expensive because he's been going so well. But who would you pick? I mean, Burton?
Yeah, look, Munster's a guy, it's that thing, isn't it? I suppose you look at your head-to-head opponent and you say, do I need to cover or do I need to go pod? So I'm assuming your opponent's probably got Munster, and you have a look at the rest. Are you stronger than them in the other spots? So you go Munster and cover, but I think Burton this week, I reckon Burton's, well, he's going to be my vice-captain this week against the Warriors, even in New Zealand. So
I'll throw DCE into that mix as well.
Oh, come on, you talked him down at the start.
It's a risky.
You're trying to make yourself feel better about it. You want more people on the bus with you.
He's got a negative outlook on SuperCoach, and then when it goes well, you can be surprised.
Okay.
First-year player. Hold on. Do I stick solid with 2 or trade sideways? I need a starter. What's your assessment of the Panthers' backline? I'm a little bit worried about the Panthers. They've got a pretty tough run. All the top teams have a pretty tough run, except for the Sharks, who have an absolute dream run. I'm a little bit worried about them without Luai and without Cleary. They've been going pretty well without them, but still I don't see massive scores coming for the wingers or the centres, which is why guys like Targo, Taylor May, etc. are on the most sold list this week.
If I had trades to play with, I'd be looking at getting in one of the Sharks. I'd either be, taking a real flyer on a guy and saving some money on Lockie Miller, and then using another trade, Toto to Miller, and then use that cash to upgrade somewhere else, or maybe Mulatalo and hope that Talakai can get the pass away and Wade Graham passes. But I think at this stage you've got to be playing matchups, and the Sharks have the best ones. JP
Parker is saying Targo to Garrick and Tapane to Murray with 3 trades left. 2 very good trades, I think.
Solid trades.
But he also has Cleary still sitting there too. So that's your final trade, I guess.
Yeah.
Cleary goes to whoever, a halfback playing the Titans in round 25.
No, I remember, I had a look at that before we came on air.
Yeah.
They're horrible. The Titans have, if you want to talk about the best draw coming up, it's probably not the Sharks, it's the Titans. But as a result, there is no player that the Titans are playing after Manly this week that you would want to buy. I think it's the Knights, the Warriors, and someone else.
Oh, right. So you'd have to get Anthony Milford in or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. Let's go to the most sold. We'll take some more questions later. Joe Tapane, rib. It looks like it's only 1 week, and then he'll come back next week. So if you're short on trades, you could hold. But it's a sudden death head-to-head final, and you've got even 1 trade, I'd be selling.
Yeah, and I suppose this is my opportunity to trot out, I'll just get the wording from the lawyers. News Corp would like to apologise to Mr Tapane for what Mr Sutherland said. Mr Sutherland was in no way associated with News Corp officially when he suggested that Joe Tapane, as a joke, was a weak-gutted dog. I'm very apologetic. So.
Why was he weak?
I was just mucking around, really, Tommy. I talked Tapane up.
You think he should have got needled up and come out?
No, I am a dead set idiot. I mean, that's just me being a clown. You know that. Like rib injuries. What does the NRL physio says? That it's a pain injury. It's a pain management thing, but they're one of the most painful injuries you can cop.
Yeah.
I mean, you looked at Tapane when he came off. He didn't even walk off. He got to the edge and he just went down on his knees. It must have been bloody brutal. And there was nothing in it. Like the tackle, it didn't look like anything happened. Oh, anyway.
Jerome Hughes. Shoulder, it's probably 1 week, could be 2 weeks. If you can sell. Look, if you're short on trades, you could hold and hope that he plays in your grand final in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Viliami Kickout, this is an interesting one because he's been named 18th man, or in the extended squad at least, for the Panthers. So there's a good chance to play, and could they play that first game of the round? So I'd be waiting to make that decision until 7 p.m, 10 past 7 on Thursday night.
And I think if he plays, he matches up on Tom Eisenhuth. So, that's an upside for him. He'll be playing on the left. And I think Eisenhuth will play on the right with Kenny playing on the left, Kenny Bromwich. So that would be a positive matchup.
Yeah, I mean, the other question is, and we'll get to a whole bunch of Panthers later, but how many points are the Panthers realistically going to score over the next few weeks? Are we expecting not that many? And do you sell Kikau, Targo, May, etc.?
If you could, possibly, yeah. I mean, they're the next 2 on the list. So,
yep.
Tango is going better than May. But, that's because being a centre, he's getting his hands on the ball a little more. May was reportedly in a sling yesterday, although I haven't seen anything more of that today, so possibly he's fine. you know, if you could move them on to guys with better draws, you probably would.
I mean, the Panthers partners such jokers that who knows, he could have just rocked up in a sling for a joke yesterday. Who knows what's going there? We haven't heard except that Michelle Bishop tweeted that he did rock up in a sling, and that's
could
all
have
we
been
know.
a sign of support for another quite famous rugby league player who the sling was an important matter in an issue before the courts, as it is right now. Am I drawing too long a bow? Perhaps I am. I don't know.
Nathan Cleary is also a popular sell. That makes sense. He's not playing this week and waiting for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Talakai, look, I own Talakai and I'm holding. I'm not quite sure why, given when you watch him play. I mean, he hasn't done a lot since that run earlier in the season. He's averaging mid-40s since then, really. But he does have that amazing run home. I'm still backing at least one, maybe two big games from Talakai in the run home.
He's also a bloody good bloke. Now, there's a good reason just to pick a bloody good bloke in your team, and I think Talakai's the guy.
You reckon he's... how many times have you met Mr. Talakai?
As many times I've met Joe Tapine, and I'm prepared to say the same.
You just backed up. You've said bad stuff about people. You just backed up.
I've never said a bad word about Talakai.
He is your guy. Your guy, Talakai. Yeah. Mitch Moses is not playing this week, but should be back next week. I can see why people are selling if it's a sudden death final, but if you don't have trades, you can hold. Yep. Cooler.
Odd one, this one. It's maybe the oddest of the odds.
Yeah, so he's made his money. He's been sold a lot by a lot of people over the last probably 2 months. But this week he's got the Titans. I'd be even tempted to play him this week as a pod.
If I had him, I'd play him.
Yep. And then Isaiah Tass, he's made his money. He's made a lot of it too, about 230k, but you can cash him in.
Yep.
Questions till the end of the show. 4 trades remaining. Is it worth holding Kikau or moving to Colo? I assume that's Koloa Matangi.
Probably, yeah. Koloa, yeah. I'd move him to Koloa Matangi.
Yep. Yeah. Fair enough. Kikau coming back might add some attacking stats to the centres and wingers. That's from Peter Johnson. It's a fair enough point.
It's true.
His ball playing has been very good this year.
His kicks have actually been pretty good too. But he also, could well just stick it under his wing and try to go through. So you're never quite sure what you're going to get.
Is Appy a keeper and is Grant a buy? So would you be going Appy to Grant? I think I probably would.
I think I would. Grant looked good with Brandon Smith back, sort of helping him out a little bit, running a ball-playing 13 when he was on. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think I'd lock that trade in. Thoughts on Gutho? I guess the thing there is that he goes so well when Mitch Moses isn't in the team, but it's only for one more week that Moses is not there, and then maybe we're back to regulation Gutho.
Yeah, that's exactly. Nailed it.
And what have we got here? 3 trades left. Tass to Mulatalo. I think that's a good trade. You own a Mulatalo owner, so you've got a vested interest.
I destroyed Mulatalo. Mulatalo was flying. I think he had like 500 games or something. He's just killing it. And then as soon as I bought him, nothing. But sure, join me on the pass it to Mulatalo screaming at the TV bandwagon.
Joel McKenzie, this is our last one. Would you trade May or Targo for Cameron Murray? Who goes first?
May.
Probably May. I think May, regardless of this news about him being in the sling, I think he goes first anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that is it for the Pre-Lockout podcast, round 22. Good luck in your head-to-head finals this weekend if you're playing. And if you're not, kick back, just sit back, relax and enjoy. Big thanks to Rob. We'll catch you for the Countdown show, 7 p.m. on Thursday.
Cheers.